Assalamualaikum and a very good evening, sir. We are
Hi, good evening.
delighted to have the chance to engage in this conversation with you. And I am Nur Shahira, and alongside me are my fellow group mates. Our collective interest lies in delving into aspect of second language oral skills for a class project. We are specifically focused on gaining insight into the challenge students might encounter in the process of honing their listening and speaking abilities. Your expertise in this area is invaluable, and we are eager to learn from your experience. So before we start this interview, would it be alright if we record this session?
Okay.
Okay, so I will be asking you the first three questions. Which the first question is, how do you assess and evaluate students' oral skills in English at the primary level?
First of all, I would like to thank everyone for inviting me tonight. Okay. First of all, my name is Nazreen. I'm an English teacher in Sabah. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to the first question that you asked just now. How do we assess when we talk about oral skills? Okay. So we are basically focusing on the listening and speaking skills. Okay, in layman terms, is listening and speaking skills. So, how do we assess, especially in primary schools, in which I'm teaching right now? The first one is you can assess them through the communication that you do with the students. Let's say if you ask them to do a group discussion, so you can assess, you can actually notice how do these students are communicating among them. Okay. Number two, maybe you do question and answer sessions. Let's say you give them a question orally, and then they need to answer your questions or talk to you in English. So by doing so, you'll be able to create real life situation for them to communicate in a very authentic way. So, other than that, usually what I usually do is I will ask them to do a role play. Okay, let's say I give them a topic or a situation, for example. So they need to discuss among themselves and come up with a role play. So um, what they need to do is they need to come in front of their friends, in front of the class, and then they'll have to act out the role play based on the topic that I have given them. So basically, those are the frequent ways that I use to assess my students in listening and speaking.
Okay, so for the next question, what engagement strategies or activities have you found particularly effective in encouraging students to actively participate in oral communication in English?
Okay, so when we talk about primary students, we need to bear in mind that these students they like to play and they love to have fun activities. So the key is they must be interactive, it must be fun, it must be enjoyable, and at the same time it must be meaningful activities. So what are the strategies that I normally do is um, normally I will always encourage them or promote them to talk to their friends, have a peer-to-peer conversations. Okay, uh, this can be done through discussions um, maybe uh, through role play, through making dialogue, through games actually. Okay. Number two, one of the most effective strategies that we need to do is we must provide them with the opportunity to communicate in their second language. In this case, is English. Okay, because students, especially in my area, um, most of the students in my school are from low income families, so they don't actually speak English at home. Okay, so when they are at school, we as teachers we need to provide them with the opportunities for them to communicate. Okay, uh, this can be done through interactive activities. For example, storytelling. Maybe you can ask them to do crossword puzzles together in a group, so that they need to discuss how to find out the answers, and then maybe you can also relate a topic to their backgrounds. Okay, for example, if you want them to talk about Independence Day, for example, so we relate this topic to their backgrounds. For example, so maybe we can ask them, maybe we can tell them before we gain independence for Malaysia, um, your grandfathers, your great grandfathers and grandmothers, they needed to um, work so hard to fight off the communists or maybe other foreigners, for example. So we need to relate the knowledge to what they have now. Okay, and then maybe try to come up with fun activities. For example, singing songs, maybe um, acting out their favorite cartoons, and so on. Those are some of the strategies that I normally do with my students. Any questions?
Sarah?
Okay. For third question, from your experience, how does parental involvement impact the development of oral skills in students learning English at primary level?
Wow, it's very, very important. The parents, they play very pivotal role in ensuring that their children, their kids can take up the second language at home. Okay, without the parents' support or involvement, I don't think these kids can master their second language. In this case, it's English. Okay, because normally maybe um, most kids in towns or in the cities, maybe their first language is English. But when you talk about rural kids, those who are living in the outskirts, maybe English maybe is not their second, it's their third or their fourth languages. So at home, the parents really, really play very important role. Okay, for example, they need to inculcate the culture of reading books in English, for example, or reading newspapers in English. They need to be the role model. They have to be the one who does the activity first. Okay, or maybe at home they need to communicate with the kids sometimes in English. It's not entirely in English because we know Malay is most of the kids' first language, but the maybe the parents can use simple English with their kids. Okay, maybe for example, Ali, please switch off the TV. Please wash the clothes. Just use simple English, with their kids at home so that we can create the culture of using English. Okay. Maybe also ask them to listen to videos or YouTube's videos or even songs in English. Okay, when we when the parents are encouraging the kids to listen or to watch videos in English, this is a very good way actually. Um, so as the time goes by, I'm very sure that the kids will pick up the language slowly. Okay, maybe I think if they are used to watch English videos or listening to English songs from when the kids are still small, I think as they grow up, they'll be able to pick up the language very much faster lah, compared to those who don't listen to English songs.
I see. Zahira?
So I'm gonna pass the next question to Rizwan, and he will
Okay.
ask you for the fourth question.
Okay, so
Okay.
teacher Nazrin, I will ask you the fourth question. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
for the fourth question, what classroom challenges have you encountered while teaching oral skills, and how have you addressed or overcome these challenges?
Okay, thank you, Rizwan. Okay,
Welcome.
when we talk about challenges, there are few challenges that we need to that we often encounter when we are teaching English, especially to rural kids. My schools is in the rural area, so they are not very used to using English daily. All right, the first one is challenge. One of the most um, obvious challenges that these kids have is the lack of confidence.
Ah,
They are they are afraid to use the language when they are speaking to their friends. Okay, they are afraid to make mistakes and get humiliated by their friends. Okay, that's number one. Number two, um, another most obvious challenges that I think these kids have is their resistance to class participation. Sometimes when we ask them to talk in English or to present in English, they sort of uh, resist to participate actively in the classroom. Maybe they are afraid, maybe they have low confidence, maybe they are not used to speaking English in front of other people. So these are the challenges that are very common when we are teaching listening and speaking skills to children.
so
Not only that, one of them another challenges that I think they have is um, they are lacking of uh, motivation. What does that mean is when we talk about motivation is that they don't know if they are good in English, for example, what can they do with the language? They don't see what is the use of the language in the future. So when they don't see this importance, so they are very reluctant to use the language. So I think those are the most common challenges that I think um, these kids have when they are um, when they are listening, how to improve their listening and speaking skills.
yeah. So how you overcome the challenges, sir?
Okay, so how do we as teachers overcome that? Number one, we need to keep reminding them what is the importance of English. We need to make them see how does this language will help them in the future. Okay, what are the careers that they need to use this language for? That's number one, to boost their confidence and
Confidence.
motivation. Number two, we need to keep providing them with the opportunity to use the language. Like I said just now, keep providing them with fun activities, and at the same time, the activity must provide opportunities for them to speak and listen to their friends. Okay, this includes presentation, this include dialogue, this include um, uh, maybe presentation in front of the class, and so on. So when we provide them with these opportunities, it will eventually help them to be confident to use the language. And then we need also to keep reminding them that do not afraid to make mistakes. If you make mistakes, that means you are learning. If you do not make mistakes, that means you are not learning anything. So keep reminding them it's okay to make mistakes in the classroom. When you make mistakes, that means you can learn new things in life. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. For the fifth question, how do you effectively
Mhm.
integrate speaking and listening skills into your lesson plans to enhance student overall oral proficiency?
All right. Um, when we talk about integration, okay, um, in primary school classroom right now, we have currently four main skills that we need to teach them: listening, speaking, reading, writing, um, and writing, I think. So, for example, when you are teaching writing, for example, so these kids they still need to listen and talk in English.
Yes.
So even if you are reading, you are teaching reading to them, they still need to talk and listen to their friends.
Yes.
So actually, speaking and listening are very very basic skills that you
Things.
can integrate. It doesn't matter whatever you are teaching right now. You still need to provide them the opportunities to speak in English.
Yes.
So I think uh, just provide them the opportunities every time you come to the class and teach whatever topics or whatever skills you are teaching for the day. Yep.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your answer. So I will pass to Amir Faris to continue with this sixth question.
Okay, hi, hello. Thank you, Rizwan. Hello, sir. My name is Amir Faris, and I'll be the one for asking you the sixth question. So, the question would be, how do you balance the teaching of oral skills with other language skills like reading and writing at the primary level?
Okay. So this question is almost similar to the question that was asked just now. So how do we balance out these oral skills with other skills in English? So as I said just now, it doesn't matter actually. Whenever you are teaching reading, or writing, for example, you still need the kids to to talk and listen. So how do we balance out? For example, when we are teaching reading to them, okay, maybe we can do some kind of oral discussion with the students. For example, okay, class, what do you understand with the story that you have just read just now? Okay, so ask the students for their opinions. Provide the opportunity for them to speak and provide the opportunity for them to speak out their minds, give their give their ideas and their opinions on the skills. For example, when we're teaching writing, for example, so maybe when before we start our writing session, we ask them to talk about the topic first. What do they know about the topic? What are the importance of the topic that they are going to write about? Um, and then ask them what are their personal experiences when related to the topic, and so on. So, as I said just now, it doesn't matter whether what topics that you are teaching for that day, as long as the students they have the opportunity to speak and listen and communicate with everyone. I think it's okay. Okay, we have already balanced out the skills in during that particular lesson.
Yes, sir. I'm agreeing with you. I think all those skills are important, and I agree with what you just said just now. And moving on to the seven questions, what role does peer interaction and collaboration play in improving students' oral skills in your classroom?
Oh, it's very, very important. I mean, um, when we talk about peer communication, especially in primary schools, it's very, very important to have that. Okay, because as I said just now, English may not be their main language at home. So the only way for them to practice the language is by talking and listening to their friends at school. Okay, so it's very, very important for them to have that communication and interaction between their friends. Okay, so by having that interaction among the kids, this will eventually develop their confidence in using the language, and at the same time they will be able to improve their use of English. Okay, maybe some low level learners, maybe they can learn a lot from their friends who are better in English, and this is one of the authentic ways for them to communicate and improve their English whenever they are speaking with their friends. Because um, these kids, when they talk to their friends, they have that what do you call confidence and the sense of security, because they know most of their friends, their level of English is quite the same um, between them. So when they have this communication among their peers, I believe that they will feel safer to talk and communicate in school lah, for example. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for the insights. And next question, we'll pass it to Azam. Azam,
Uh, Hello. Okay. Hi, Mr. Nazrin. So I am Anrazam. So we will moving forward to the eighth question, which is when the students face difficulties in developing their oral abilities, what strategies or additional support do you provide to help them in improve?
Okay. Thank you, Azam. All right. Um, additional support. Yeah. Like me, what I normally do is like let me tell you let me tell you about the background of my students. Okay, they are mostly uh, students that come from um, low income families. So these students, most of them, I think, they are deprived of the opportunity to use the internet. For example, maybe to watch YouTube, to listen to Spotify, to listen to news in English. So whenever they are at school, I will give them the opportunity to use the internet to explore um,
through the internet.
something that they like in English.
I see.
Okay, maybe for example, I give them one topic related to English, so I give them the opportunity. I'll bring them to the computer lab. So I ask them to use the internet, to use the computer, to look on their own the information on the topic that I have given them. Next, um, I'll give them materials for them to listen in English. Okay. So maybe that I give you example. For example, on that day, our topic is on sports. So I'll give them maybe sound clips or interviews or the newspaper or no news podcast, for example, and I'll ask them to listen. After that, I will ask them to talk again. What do they understand from the materials that I have given them? So by doing this, I believe we will give them um, opportunities for support, additional support, other than the textbooks activities for them to polish up their English or in this case their oral skills.
skills.
Okay, so you telling me that they are like missing out at home. So as a teacher who you are right now, take the opportunity to helping them what they are missing out, right? By be,
Yeah.
bringing them to the lab and then giving them to hear, watch the
Mhm.
materials, so they are not um too missing and not going too behind everything about English. Is it?
Yes.
Right? Okay, sir. Let me go to the ninth question, which is how do you incorporate cultural context into lessons to enhance students' oral proficiency in English?
Okay. When we talk about cultural aspect in learning second language, or in this case is oral skills, it's very important for you to relate the students' culture um, with your in your lesson. Why? Number one, it will give them insights or background knowledge on the topics that they are going to learn for that day. And then number two, when they have the cultural background on on the topic, they will have the confidence to talk and listen to their friends. For example, yeah, um, in Sabah, we have this festival called Kaamatan,
Mr.
for example,
Kamatan, yes.
Kaamatan or Harvest Festival. Okay, if you haven't heard about it,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So when we ask them to talk about this Harvest Festival or Kaamatan in the classroom, we need to ask them to talk about what they know about it, the cultural aspect of it. What do they know about Kaamatan? So I'm very sure that these kids they have the knowledge. They know something about it. So we ask them to know first. Okay, class. Today we are going to learn about Harvest Festival or Kaamatan. So what do you know about this topic? When it is celebrated, who celebrate it? Um, is there any special holiday when it is Kaamatan? So I'm very sure that these kids they have the knowledge, the cultural aspect of it. So they will eventually stand up and raise up their hands. Sir, Kaamatan, for example, is celebrated in May every year. Uh, so when they know it is related to them, the culture is related to them, they will be more confident to talk about it.
Oh, so by the cultural context, the students will be like more interested and be more like active in the oral. So it
Yes.
can helping it a lot for them,
Yeah.
right?
I'm sure it can really help them to improve their skills.
Understandable, sir. Okay, so we going to the last question, the 10th question, which is what impact do you believe technology or digital tools have on enhancing primary students on oral abilities in learning English?
Oh, it's the technology age right now that we are living
Yeah.
in. So definitely technology, ICT, internet, they really, really play a very pivotal role in helping the students to improve their oral skills. Okay, for example, uh, these kids nowadays, I think we cannot separate them from mobile phones. Most of the
Yes.
kids, they have their own mobile phones
Yeah.
at home. Maybe it's their parents or their sisters or brothers. It doesn't matter, but they have access to using phones at home. So I'm very, very sure that when they are free, they are not doing anything at home. I'm I'm very sure that they'll use their phone to look for to watch videos in the YouTube, to watch Netflix, to watch movies, etc., etc. So this is a very good way actually for them to improve their English and their oral skills. I believe that nowadays, like what we are doing now, Google Meet, they are using any other of teleconference call also to discuss among their friends and also to maybe to discuss with their teachers, online tuition, for example. So this will eventually help them to improve their oral skills lah.
Okay, so I completely agree with your opinion, which is we are currently living with technology age. We can't separate ourselves with gadgets and like the internet and all of type of these modern gadgets, the smartphones or laptops. So it can it not it or it not only can it is a big role for them to improvise our abilities by using the technology.
Mhm. Yes, I agree with you, but we still need to control them.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
let
understood about that.
we need to put the boundary when it comes to using mobile phone and internet phone and so on, because we do not want them to be drifted too much when you are when they are using internet. Okay,
Okay, sir. So the technology also have the pros and cons. So yeah,
sure.
yeah, the students need to balance it, right?
Yeah,
Okay, sir. So after all the 10 questions, we already come to the end of the interview. So all of us appreciate your time for entering this interview, and we are also appreciate your insight, sir. So your expertise has been incredibly valuable to us as we explore the challenges in second language oral skills. So thank you for sharing your knowledge, and we're looking forward to apply these insights to our project. So I am Azam Nur Shaira and Rizwan. Also, Amir Faris. We are honored to have you here. Thank you, sir.
thank you
Uh,
everyone, all the best. Yeah.
but by the way,
Yeah.
sir, do you have any motivation to us to for the upcoming teacher like us?
Okay, number one, you need to have the passion first. In order for you to be a good teacher, you need to have the passion first. It's not about the salary and so on, but being a teacher is all about passion. If you do not have the passion to teach, you will not be a good teacher. Number two, number two, if you want to be a good teacher, uh, learn to adapt to new things. Okay, because nowadays the education world is changing rapidly, so you need to embrace the new challenges, the new um, changes fast. Yeah, for example, before this we do not have these online classes, but due to pandemic and so on, we need to adapt to this new method of teaching. So, as a new teacher, as a new an upcoming teacher, I think you guys are very still young. I think
Yes.
you'll be able to adapt to the changes faster than me. And number three, uh, please learn from all your former teachers. Ask them for advices. I'm sure they have mountains of treasures that you can learn from them, and ask them what are their advices for you guys. I'm sure they'll be very very proud to share them with you. I think that's all lah.
Thank you, sir, for your motivation. I think that's all from us. Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, all the best everyone.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Just Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to Mrs. Juliana, as known as Teacher Juliana, a school teacher, a secondary school teacher at Sekolah Menengah Kemasan Badu Alam Shah in Kemaman, Terengganu, and two of my friends, which is Muhammad Rizwan and Amir Faris, and I am Amir Azam. We will conducting an interview about oral oral skills in English in the context of secondary schools from a secondary school teacher. So, Mrs. Juliana, how are you?
Uh,
My teacher. Mike.
teacher, we don't hear.
Okay, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. So you've been teaching for how many years, teacher?
Well, I've been teaching English for 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
So,
So,
teacher, we three of us will ask you 10 questions regarding of oral and oral skills in English. Mrs. Juliana, I will start the first question, which is how do you assess and evaluate students in oral skills in English at secondary level?
okay, as an English teacher, I've been teaching English at secondary school for 20 years. So, well, actually, the oral skills can be assessed during the classroom activities. Okay, and nowadays we have a specific guideline. Okay, that we have to follow, and it is known as the DSKP. DSKP is the Document Standard Curriculum dan Pentaksiran. Okay, and we also have a scale to evaluate the students' oral and oral skill, um, and it is known as the CEFR scale. Okay, CEFR is known as the Common European Framework of Reference for Language. Okay, it is standardized throughout Malaysia. Okay, so that would be how the way we evaluate the students.
Okay.
And another thing is that the assessment is done in two ways, which is um, ongoing assessment, okay, during the classroom activities, and also the assessment that we have, um, we call it as the summative assessment, in which we will test the student uh, uh, during at the end of each lesson or topic, or maybe a monthly test. Okay, that is how we assess the students, right?
So, based on the first question, you say that we can assess and evaluate students by in the classroom and
Yeah,
monthly examination.
yeah,
Alright.
exactly.
So we'll moving on to the second question, which is what engagement strategies or activities have you found particularly effective in encouraging students to actively participate in oral communication in English?
Basically, there are many activities that we can do to promote or to encourage students to communicate in English. Um, we normally like some of the activities that we can do are like role playing, you know. We have delivery speech delivery in a form of impromptu, and also we also do activities that involves the 21st century learning, which requires the students to uh, participate actively in the classroom. Okay, so that is how we encourage the students to, you know, to communicate in English, to use the language.
All right. So by not just using the traditional way, just learning and just speaking, we use
uh,
the other methods like you say role playing and so on, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that drilling is not an effective way. It is one of the effective ways too. But if we need to um, we need to adapt to the latest situation. And nowadays, the students, they are different from uh, from the past,
Yeah.
right? They are exposed to a lot of things, and they have this technology that could help them learn better.
It's more like the generation gap, right? We
Yeah,
going to more modern things. Yeah, we modernize and improvise ourselves.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
understandable. So, the third question, it is, in your experience, how does parental involvement or support impact the development of oral skills in students learning English at the secondary level?
Well, I will say it would be a bonus if the student comes from an English speaking background, meaning that if the parents speak English at home, that would be an advantage for them to do well in school. I mean, in this subject, particularly in this subject, right?
So,
So they play an important role too.
not just the students and the teachers in the school, it also involves
Yes,
outside the school. So,
yes, the community
yeah,
as well.
understandable. So, we will go into Rizwan's questions. So, Rizwan, can you provide the questions too?
Okay, I will continue with the question. Okay, teacher,
All
what
right.
classroom challenges have you encountered while teaching oral skills, and how have you addressed or overcome this challenge?
As for me, the most challenging situation that I've encountered as an English teacher is when my student is unable to acquire the basic language. They don't understand the instruction, right? So that is very challenging. So so one of the ways to overcome the problem, one of the steps that I took was I had to use you know the 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 mother tongue language,
Oh yeah.
translate it, okay, translate the instruction. And if they respond to the question, I would definitely give them a positive feedback, right? Show them some compliment, feel that they are good, okay, that would motivate them to use the language, right?
Okay. So the next question, teacher, how do you
Okay.
effectively integrate speaking and listening skills into your lesson plan to enhance student overall oral proficiency?
Talking about teaching, speaking, and listening in the lesson plans, uh, I normally allocate like at least a double period. Like a 1 hour lesson for listening, and another 1 hour lesson for speaking. Okay, activity. But but in these activities, we also do we can also integrate it in the reading
Reading
activity. The
activities, yes.
listening activity can be integrated in the reading activity. As for example, when I ask them to read to do reading, I will play the audio, and they will listen to the form to the passage. Okay, so that is one of the examples of integrating the listening and speaking skills,
Oh,
okay, in the classroom.
okay. We will continue with the next question, teacher.
Right.
How do you balance the teaching of oral skills with other language skills like reading and writing at the secondary level?
Well, basically, like as I have mentioned before this, uh, we can integrate both of the not both, but yeah, both of the skills in the listening and in the reading and writing lessons. Um, when I teach, let's say if I teach writing, okay, there will be stages when I will ask them to brainstorm. They have to sit together in group and talk to their friends, communicate with their friends using the language to get the ideas, to generate the ideas. And then later after that, they will present their ideas to their friends. That also involves the oral skills in teaching, reading and writing. Okay, so so that is one of the
What was the
examples that
example?
I've done in the classroom.
So the last question from me, teacher.
Right.
What role does peer interaction and collaboration play in improving student oral skills in your classroom, teacher?
Well, peer interaction. Talking about peer interaction, the students, they are sometimes they feel more comfortable to communicate with their friends,
Yeah.
friends of the same age, right? So um, well, nowadays we have a mixed ability students in the classroom. So the good students, they have their role in helping the the weaker ones. So it is actually an effective way to learn language. Right?
Okay, that's all
Okay.
from me, teacher. Thank you
All
for
right.
answering my
Thank you.
question. Okay, next, Amir Faris will ask a question.
Okay, I'll begin with the next question, teacher.
All
So the
right.
questions will be, let's say your student is very weak, meaning that to say like really, really weak in English. So what additional strategies that you adapt to help them? Meaning to say, maybe in terms of technology or like outdoor class activities.
Okay. If the students, or for weak students, normally I will provide them extra uh, practice. Like there are many online materials that we can find
Mm,
nowadays, and one of the example that I can give is the materials from the British Council website. Okay, they have
mm,
activities for listening and also speaking. So I will normally share the links to my students, and I will ask them to do it during their free time. Okay. Other than that, I will spend some time, extra time with them to have this individual consultation. They'll come and see me whenever they are free, and then we will discuss the problems together. Right?
Okay.
Okay.
Teacher, I just want to come back to the like you said earlier. You said
Mm-hmm.
that if the student is too weak,
Mm-hmm.
you will sometimes provide them with direct translation to Malay language.
Yes.
So, is this an indicator that agreeing that sometimes it is okay for us to use Malay language to teach English? And how do
And
you I mean, like, how do you make sure it is balanced, meaning that not too much of Malay language is used?
okay. Uh, I would agree if translation is used in teaching English, and
Mhm.
at the same time, I would uh, give them examples. Okay, give set examples so that they can drill practice. Okay, so
Mhm.
so that is it. That is how we do it.
Okay. Okay. Next question, teacher. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you for the previous answer. How do you incorporate cultural context or real life context into lessons to enhance students' oral proficiency in English?
Talking about cultural context, okay, when it comes to like oral skills, like for instance, if we are doing this speaking activity, I might um, use topics that revolves around the students background knowledge. Okay, uh, for instance, like they if they come from uh, like they come from Terengganu. Okay, one of the topics that we can ask them is like, what is your the place that interesting places in Terengganu.
Mhm.
So that's how we adapt to the culture, the students' culture, right? That is only one example, and there are many more examples that we can use. Like another,
Yes.
yeah, like in the textbook itself, we there are themes that we have to follow. Like one of the themes is revolving around people, people, and also environment. Okay, so those are the themes that we can integrate the culture uh, into the discussion, right? Okay.
Continue you. Last question.
Okay, last question, right? Yeah. Okay, teacher, our last question would be, what impact do you believe technology or digital tools have on enhancing secondary students' oral abilities in learning English?
Well, the digital tools or the latest technology, they bring a lot of benefits to the students because it can assist the students to learn better. Okay,
Mm.
students can find a lot of resources from the internet. Like everybody has their handphones. They can surf for information anytime they want. Okay, and also basically it is an advantage for them.
Mhm.
Mm.
Teacher, I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
perhaps if you know any of your students is using, uh, ChatGPT, teacher?
AI.
Chat.
ChatGPT?
Oh, yeah, I know AI. Chat GPT.
Okay.
Yeah. They are some of my students, they use that as as a reference, like especially when it comes to writing,
Writing
writing
assessment
essays.
essays.
Okay, they would sometimes use the technology to help them in,
Oh,
some of them, but not
So
all.
are you okay with that, or you not allow them to do it?
As for practice, I think it's okay, but not in the examination. Of course not.
Of course not. Yes.
Yeah, of course not.
So
And we do not have any, like, what do you call that, assignments, like 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 in the one that, students in the
yes,
university
that we're doing now.
has, right? Okay.
So
So
my Faris, you can continue.
oh, sorry, teacher. Our line
not that.
It's
quite bad.
quite
Oh,
bad.
So
all right, okay, it's okay.
is there anything else, my Faris?
Okay, so
Um,
I think that
Jelas.
will be all for our interview. That will be the last question.
Yeah.
And I think
Right,
with that being said, I think we've come to the end of our interview. And
right.
if teacher Ju, right?
Yeah.
If you have something maybe like closing speech
Or
to
any
give us
advices for
Yes,
any
us?
advice to
advice
us as
for us for the
inshallah
future
the future
future
teacher
teacher.
will be
Advice. uh I just want to wish you all good luck. um
Oh,
Study hard, graduate, become teachers. One day you're going to replace me. That's it.
Azam going to replace you.
but but,
maybe
but
I will
I
be one of your colleagues.
Yeah, who knows, one day, right?
Yeah, one day.
Looking forward for it. Okay. So it's fun to become teachers. It's actually fun. uh, the job is it's not that stressful, right? um should go for it, right? Okay, so that's all for
So,
me.
okay,
Yes,
teacher.
yes.
Right.
Um, I have a
what
I have like a something to say because you are you're my teacher before, right? So I I just want to say is a huge thank you from us, four of us,
Right.
that you can participate in this interview.
Thank you, teacher.
Right.
So
Okay, welcome.
we are hoping you the best in the future, and you will be always in the pink. So thank you.
All right,
okay,
welcome.
okay,
And
thank you
thank you too for
teacher.
inviting me to
Sure,
this
sure, teacher.
interview.
And also sorry for the delay of the
Delay.
interview.
Nah, it's
We have a
okay.
very bad connection of internet here in Indonesia.
I understand students' life. I
Yeah.
used to be students like you, right?
Okay.
So enjoy while you are not working.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right.
Okay, that's all, teacher.
Okay.
Thank you for from
Right.
us.
Yep.
Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm Muhammad Rizwan Majasri. We will give the introduction for our verbal report. So the proficiency in communicating is essential for both and academic success for educators, helping students to acquire oral abilities is essential to enabling them to communicate clearly and effectively. So in this interview, we look at the strategies and opinion of elementary and high school teachers about the oral skills development of their people. For the primary school teachers that we interview is Sir Muhammad Nazrin bin Zainul. He is study his Bachelor of Teaching English as Second Language at Institute of Teacher Education Malaysia, or we known as IPG. He also has been teaching for 9 years and he is currently teaching at SK Pintas Beaufort Sabah. The primary school teacher we interviewed was Miss Juliana binti Ghazali. She studied her Bachelor of Degree in Teaching English as Second Language at University Technology Mara. She has been working for 20 years and she currently teach at SMK Badrul Alam Shah, Kemasik Kemaman Terengganu. So we will talk about the content that we got from the interview. So I will pass to Amir Faris to start first.
Okay, so first of all, this is a few of the content that we managed to uh, get from the interview. First of all, the identified issues are: the secondary teacher highlighted several key issues influencing students' oral skills in English. Drawing from theoretical perspectives, these issues revolve around the challenge of integrating these skills cohesively with other language components. The teacher emphasized that while students often excel in reading and writing, their oral proficiency lags behind. This mismatch stems from the predominant focus on written assessments and limited dedicated time for oral practice. The teacher emphasized the need for a balanced approach that nurtures all language skills equitably. Next, teaching approach. The teacher adopted a multifaceted approach that prioritized interactive classroom settings. They emphasized the significance of peer interactions and collaborative activities in fostering oral proficiency. This approach aligns with the sociocultural theory, emphasizing social interactions for language development. Additionally, the teacher integrated technology as a supplemental tool to engage students and diversify learning experiences. Next, the teachers also talks about the design of oral materials and assessment. The teacher provided insight into their lesson plans, exercises, and assessment strategies. Lesson plans were structured to incorporate speaking and listening exercises within broader themes, ensuring a seamless integration of oral skills. Activities included role plays, debates, and storytelling sessions designed to encourage active participation and enhance communication skills. The assessment framework featured oral tests focusing on comprehension, pronunciation, and fluency, aligning with Bloom's taxonomy to assess higher order language skills. And last but not least, the teachers also mentioned about the some recommendations uh, as that a teacher should do. So they said that based on the experience, the teacher offered recommendations to improve oral proficiency among students. They emphasized the necessity of curriculum overall, advocating for a more balanced approach that allocates sufficient time and resources for oral skill development. The teachers stressed the importance of professional development for educators to implement innovative teaching methodologies that cater to diverse learning styles. Additionally, they suggested leveraging technology as a supplemental tool and encouraging extracurricular activities that promote English language usage outside the classroom. And next,
Continue with Nur
we'll
Shaira.
pass the report to Nurul Shahira.
So, so for the secondary school, what we got is when we learning English, speaking and listening skills are crucial. Talking to a secondary school teacher reveal some important things about how students learn these skills. One big issue is that students are often better at reading and writing than speaking and listening. The teachers think this happened because schools focus more on reading and writing, and they said that talking and working together in class helps students learn better, which is something they learn from studying how people learn language. The teacher used a lot of activities like acting, debates, and storytelling to help students talk more in class. They make lesson plans that include speaking and listening exercise, making sure students practice this skill regularly. They also test students on how well they understand and speak English, not just on writing. The teacher had good ideas to help students get better. They said schools should spend more time teaching speaking and listening. Also, teachers should learn. new ways to teach, and using computers and fun activities can make learning more interesting. They also think students should do more outside of class to practice English, like joining clubs or groups. And in short, the interview showed that schools need to focus more on speaking and listening in English classes, and the teacher had smart idea to make this happen, like using new teaching method and giving students more chances to practice talking in English. So I will pass to Amirul Azam for the conclusion.
Okay, thank you. So, in conclusion, both teacher Nazrin and Juliana are good at talking and listening, especially in primary and secondary school contexts. The teachers are like facilitators who share important information. So it is important for them to speak well and have meaningful conversation with their students. They are also need to be good at understanding what their student says. It can help them listen carefully, answering questions, and giving helpful advices. So when the teachers are good at both talking and listening, it can make the classroom lively and diverse. Students learn to listen to the different ideas and express themselves clearly. Teachers who keep getting better at these skills not only make the school become more interesting, but it can also help the students to think better and communicate more effectively both in and out of the class. So that's all.
So that's all for the verbal report. So thank you.